Welcome back to Mustangs by Matt. You join me in my wife's 2019 Ford Edge. Now, my phone is almost dead, it needs a charge. So, what I can do if I'm in her car is just pop open this little hatch, stick it down in there, and it charges wirelessly, automatically. It's fantastic. But if I'm in my 2019 Ford Mustang, I have to plug in a cable, like an animal. Today, we're going to fix that. We're going to be adding wireless charging to the Ford Mustang. Stay tuned, because this is going to be fun. Alright, so here are the tools and parts you're going to need to get the job done. 1/4-inch ratchet, nice little extension, 10mm socket, maybe a short 10mm, 7mm socket, a center punch, panel removal tool, or a flathead screwdriver, and according to Raxiom, I'm going to need a 1/2-inch drill of some kind. This is the only one I have, so this is for wood, but it's plastic. It'll be really easy. First thing we got to do is remove the center console from the car. So we're going to pull this little rubber tray from the front and remove the two 7mm bolts that hold the front of the center console in. Don't lose these. Now we're going to remove these two side panels from each side. This is where your panel removal tool earns its money. Alright, so we're going to remove the top part of the center console. We have to take the little ring around the shifter, get that loose. This can be very tight, so alright, there's that. Now we flip back here. Just stick your pry tool in between the top soft plastic and the hard plastic underneath. Okay. Now we're going to make sure that the emergency brake is up. Alright. Disconnect power for the lights and remove this from the car. So before we can continue in the car, we have to do some groundwork out here as well. This is the wireless charging pad that we're going to be installing into the Mustang. It's got this little connector so it doesn't come loose, which you don't want it to. And this is the wires that they give you. Now this is at least 8 feet of wire. We don't need that. We can't really trim this much wire because it's got that connector on. So we're going to cut a little bit of this sheathing off, and we're going to expose about a few inches of the red and black wire. So now what we have to do is just reach in from the inside, pop this little panel out, and this is the connector that we want. So we're gonna push down on here and release that. When we fish this back through, we're gonna remove some of this sleeving right here. So I've disconnected the mini USB connectors and whatever this power connector is from this outlet. Just for filming, you don't actually have to remove all those. You only need to remove this connector. And this, because these are the wires we're going to splice into, because this is our 12 volt and our ground. So if you don't have an X-Acto knife, get one. This gray and orange wire is your power, and the black and purple wire is your ground. So what we're going to do, cut here. Okay. And we're going to cut here. Now we're going to take our wire strippers, and any pair of wire strippers will work. If you don't have these particular kind, that's fine. Okay, so we're gonna twist these wires together, stick our connector on there, crimp it down, like that, make sure it doesn't come out. We're gonna do the same with the red wire. There. Now we're going to reconnect our original factory plug. Okay, black to black. Stick that in there. Okay, crimp the gray and orange one. That. Okay, thank you. Now we just slide the heat shrink over. We're just going to reconnect. Slip this whole assembly back through this little tunnel. Okay. Okay, we're just going to connect that. These apparently only go in one way, so you can't do it wrong, because it's a different size than that one, so you can't put it in the wrong way, so there's no need to. Alright, so all this is back the way it was. Okay. Well, we're going to drill a hole to pass this wire through. So to do that, we have to first set this in place. This is about where it's going to sit, and just mark where the hole is going to be. So it's about 1 thumb over for me. That's the best I can do. Now, we pull this little 10mm nut out of here. Okay. So we're going to take the power wire that we just connected to the 12-volt outlet, and we're going to fish it through that hole we just made. You don't have to do this. What you would do is take this end of the wire, fish it through there, and then connect it on the bottom underneath the center console. I'm doing this because it'll allow you to see what it is I'm talking about. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to. So we're just going to fish this under here. Okay. Right. Now, we're going to take the connector and just plop it in and pull this back through all the way down. Okay. And we have to put those nuts back, but this is basically how it's going to sit. Just like that. So before we can button everything up, we have to test everything, just to make sure that it works. So to do that, you're going to have to plug in the connectors for your center console. One of them is the Bluetooth receiver for the key. I don't know which one, but it's one of them. Then we can just hit the power on, and we can go down there and we can see that the blue light is indeed illuminated. Okay, and we can see right there, wireless charging. So now we can button everything up. Let's continue on. Awesome, everything works. So now what we have to do is button everything up. We have to reinstall the nuts that hold the center console in place. Okay, now that those are tight, we can go on and reinstall the top panel and button everything up. Just got to shimmy it back into place. Line up these little tabs. Right. Reinstall the shifter bezel into the upper center console, and we're going to reinstall those bolts that we removed earlier. Put the side panels back in place. So the next step, and this is totally optional, is to install this little rubber mat that comes with it so that your phone doesn't slide around. In testing previous to the installation, we determined that this is actually too thick to transmit the charge between the charging mat and the phone when it's installed in a case. And we want to have our phone in a case sometimes. Some people might not. So what we did was we just trimmed the bottom of the factory mat, cut off the riser part right here, and this is going to sit down on the charging pad, and it's going to keep your phone from sliding around, and you're going to be able to charge through the case. So that was the installation of the Raxiom Wireless Charging Kit for the 2015 and up Ford Mustang. A huge oversight, in my opinion, on Ford's part not to include that with this car, but then again, they don't include a lot of things in the Mustang that they put on other cars, like hood lift struts and a trunk that actually opens without having to install a separate kit. By the way, if you want to have a look at the trunk pop kit, I did that in a recent video. You can click here. I'm going to be installing this GT Performance Pack rear wing and the GT rear valance onto this car. We're going to be doing a full rear upgrade to the Performance Pack, something that is not available on the EcoBoost as far as I'm aware. Thanks for watching. Be safe, have fun, and God bless America.